and today Group A will be discussing how the Food and Drug Administration ensures the safety and effectiveness of prescription drugs. So, the FDA was first created to enforce the Food and Drug Act of 1906, which prohibited the interstate transport of unlawful foods and drugs. Since then, the FDA has been responsible for protecting the public health by ensuring safety, efficiency, and security of human and veterinary drugs, as well as biological products and medical devices. The FDA has the responsibility of ensuring that food supply, cosmetics, and products that emit radiation are safe. So that seems like a lot, but today we're just going to go over how the FDA ensures the safety and effectiveness of our nation's prescription drugs.
Now that we know what the FDA does and what the FDA stands for, we're going to be going into the process of how the Food Drug Administration makes sure our prescription drugs are safe and effective. So before we go into the actual specifics of each step, I'm going to be outlining the overall process. So what the FDA does, they typically have different frameworks they use to make sure our prescription drugs are safe and effective. And some of them are pre-market approval and post-regulatory procedure. They also do a bunch of tests as well to make sure our drugs are safe and effective. So now that we know the overall process, we are going to go down into each specific one, starting off with the very first step.
The first step in the drug approval process is testing. Whoever is responsible for developing the drug, whether it be a company, a research institution, or another organization, they must show the FDA the results on laboratory animals and preclinical trials. They also must show their plans for human trials. With this information, the FDA will either approve or deny them to move on to human trials. An IND application for the drug is filed and reviewed by the FDA and local institutional review board. This review board is made up of scientists and non-scientists at hospitals and research institutions. The board will approve the clinical trial protocols and take appropriate steps to protect the patients from harm. The first stage of testing is on healthy participants, trying to figure out the side effects of the drug and to see if it's safe. Once phase 1 shows the toxicity levels are acceptable, phase 2 can proceed. This phase is more focused on the effectiveness of the drug. The short-term effects are also studied. The scale of phase 3 depends on the results in phase 2. While a phase 2 study has between 12 to 300 participants, a phase 3 study will have between a few hundred to 3,000. The number of participants increase to find evidence for the findings in phase 2. In this phase, different dosages, combinations with other drugs, and different populations are tested.
Another step in the way that FDA makes sure that drugs are safe for human consumption and safe for people to take in general is preclinical research. They test their ideas and new biomedical prevention strategies in laboratories and experiment on animals just to make sure that we can consume them and there's no crazy reactions. Everything that happens to the animals is considered preclinical, so that way we can just test it on them and see how they react, if they die or if they live, and any weird reactions that could occur to us, so that way we can see if it's good to sell and it's an effective drug to help benefit humanity.
For the safety of new drugs, they have to submit an application. Once the clinical trials are complete, the sponsors submit an NDA to FDA Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, CDER, containing not only the clinical trial results, but also information about the manufacturing process and facilities, including quality control and assurance procedures. During the review, CDER officials evaluate the drug safety and effectiveness data, analyze samples, inspect the facilities where the finished product will be made, and check the proposed labeling for accuracy. So that is how new drugs get passed and how they make sure they are safe for use.
I'm Skylar, and as you can see from my group's project and the videos that we put together, the FDA goes through a very long and thought-out process in order to ensure that the drugs and medications that they approve are safe and good enough to go out to the people to sell. As you could tell, the process from going to the laboratories and through all the testing to get the medication to your medicine cabinets and sold at pharmacies and over-the-counter drugs, that it's a very long process. It's very rigorous. There's lots of testing that goes on. And overall, if the FDA approves the medications and the drugs, then obviously the benefits outweigh the risks. Thank you.